I think early on we knew that when you are working in a treatment program and you allow certain substances to be used and not other substances to be used, we were giving mixed messages. We wanted to make sure that we were being very clear that nicotine addiction is a serious addiction and impacts the whole recovery process.
We had people who didn't have much going for them, and they spent what little money they had on the $10 a pack cigarette. So for a treatment program, it made sense to step away from promoting in any way, shape, or form.
It's important that we set the example and that we make sure the clients see that we're role modeling the proper behaviors that need to be happening for people to, break different habits.
And then there's always our clients, the public. How do they see us? When they think of our organization, how do they view us? We want you to be clean and drug-free, and yet here we are standing outside our own door smoking a cigarette.
From a clinical point of view, it is the standard of care. Nationwide, healthcare agencies recognize that tobacco-free, nicotine-free, smoke-free is the standard of care in healthcare. The Joint Commission on Accreditation of Healthcare Organizations set the standard many years ago for hospitals and healthcare agencies to be smoke and tobacco-free.
My concern is our clients, and moving them away from tobacco is good on any number of levels. I see tobacco as a gateway drug, and it helps get our people off and keep them off the hard drugs if we can get them off the drug that is tobacco.
Recovery is difficult enough anyway. Every single morning when they begin to use it, their chances of recovery are diminished by that much. I think our tobacco-free policy came about by our need to model what we teach. And what we teach here at Akeela is to be substance-free.
When we first began to look at tobacco prevention programming as part of what our prevention side of our agency does, there was a little question from board. It was really driven by one of our board members who had an important family member who experienced tobacco-related illness and eventually died from that tobacco-related illness. And that individual became very vocal and very honest about how serious this problem is, and he began to kind of shape and work with the board around this issue. They began to see and understand, together with the prevention staff, it really became exciting opportunities to begin to shape a policy initiative that made sense for everybody.
We got it on the floor, but the questions were really, what problems will it cause you? Can we really do this? Is it legal to do this?
We also had a board that was very open because they're committed to treatment outcomes. And one of the things we believe, and what science tells us at this point, is our treatment outcomes will be far better if we address all forms of addiction when people come to treatment.
The board accepted it, they authorized it, approved it, and we had implemented it. We rolled out the policy in our normal policy revision process, and it was sent out to employees.
Up until then, we certainly encouraged people to quit smoking, but there was not an overarching policy or program agency-wide to be tobacco-free and encourage people to do that as part of the regular treatment programs.
We prohibit any use of any form of tobacco with our policy. That is on our property, that we own or we lease or that we are occupying even for a short-term event. We also say that tobacco use by our staff cannot be used during the daytime. So even if they leave and go off-site, they are not supposed to be smoking during their workday. Our Human Resources Department, from the time that employees are first recruited, will work with them to begin to address their own tobacco addiction. We make sure that Akeela has a health insurance policy that is designed in part to work with people around their tobacco addiction.
When we bring an employee in, we implement it, we actually put it in part of the process of the orientation because we wanted to make sure they understood our campuses are all tobacco free. We actually hand out a quit line card with the information just in case they smoke or they have somebody that smokes.
I think it's always fearful that staff are going to react adversely to this type of policy shift. We very prescriptively went program to program, introducing the new policy. We even had staff come to us and say, you know, now's the time for us to begin to address our own addiction with nicotine, because staff felt supported in the way that we introduced it.
The whole tobacco-free process at Akeela, ongoing. We're certainly not there, but it's getting there, and it's a healthy thing for all of these people to do.
We are committed to supporting treatment programs around the state in going tobacco-free, because we honestly believe that it will get to the treatment outcomes that we are all working towards.
Speaking to other organizations, agencies, or treatment centers, I'd say consider a tobacco-free policy. It'll fit right in with your mission statement somewhere.
Don't beat yourself up over it. Set some policies in place, work on them. It isn't an overnight process. It's incremental.
It takes time. You have to get your staff on board, particularly your leadership, because there will be challenges.
I think it always needs to be made clear that this is for the health of individuals. There are bound to be struggles, there are bound to be challenges. That just comes with the territory.
Change is perceived as being difficult and challenging, but if people will just kind of ride that wave for a little while, it will be a very positive outcome, and it certainly speaks to the ability of folks to be resilient and successful in their recovery process.